what might a kid have in their lunchbox that would get melted by lava?
Everything, including the lunchbox.
Hi, my name is Julian Avery. I'm an associate research professor in the Department of Ecosystem Science.
Hi, I'm Christelle Wauthier. I am an associate professor of Geosciences in the Department of Geosciences, and I study volcanoes.
Okay. Today we're going to be answering some questions that were submitted by elementary school students about volcanoes.
Okay, so the first question is from Gabriella. She's a fourth grader, and she has recently been learning a lot about Mount Kilauea. I know that there are birds around the volcano, but I am still wondering if there are animals living on the volcano. Do they know when to leave, or do they just die during the eruption? Yeah, so Gabriella, that's a great question. So Kilauea is a very active volcano in Hawaii. It's a basaltic volcano, so it erupts in a very gentle way, I would say. So it's not super violent. There is not a lot of ash, which is the thing that would be dangerous for animals.
The question about whether wildlife will be on the volcano is that it's quite likely that they are there during an eruption, and it's also quite likely that they're going to experience lots of negative effects during that eruption.
What happens to birds that fly over a volcano?
Probably within the immediate vicinity of an eruption, you would probably lose those animals that are very close, but otherwise, they seem to be able to detect air that is suitable for them. This is a common merganser that is primarily a fish-eating bird, and you can tell they have really long, narrow beaks that have lots of serrations for holding on to fish. So this is a bird that would be reliant upon fish that could potentially decline in the vicinity of an eruption. And some of that dropping ash and other chemicals that come down out of the sky, or minerals that come down, can affect waterways for quite a distance away. So you can have localized effects and also more widespread effects.
Can animals tell when a volcano is about to erupt?
That's a good question. I don't know that we know that. I would suspect that they can probably detect some changes, whether that's auditory, whether they're hearing things, or detecting gases.
Some of these small earthquakes that we mentioned before might be big enough that they can feel it as well, just the shaking. Yeah. Like we saw recently during an earthquake in California, right? You saw the elephants. They were doing the protective circle.
Yeah. There really is a lot to learn from these processes in terms of how life is organized.
What does the saying hot as lava mean?
So lava is pretty hot. It's about 1,000 degrees Celsius.
Are there any animals that do well after an eruption?
Maybe some adaptations exist, but I think there's still a lot to be learned and a lot that we don't know about wildlife and life in general that evolves near volcanic activity.
There are a few examples, I think, of animals like snakes that actually thrive in warm water from hydrothermalism and volcanic activity, and so you basically have a hot tub at your disposal. Right. And so some animals use that, like monkeys in Japan. You can, I don't know if you've seen pictures of
they
monkeys.
bathe and groom themselves in the saunas. Yeah.